Oh dear. I told you the offer was something else. And this freaking tower, dude. Underneath that, the Five of Cups. What is going down right now? Jesus. Right. Family. So we have the Five of Pentacles on our side. We are feeling like something is missing in this relationship, or something's lacking. Something's lacking in the connection. Whether this is intimacy, whether this is actual money, feel like there's not enough. Something, maybe this is in regards to us, not the other person. Maybe we just feel like we don't have enough, or maybe there's something that's lacking within us. Or it could be that there's something lacking in total of the relationship, right? This is deception. I think somebody's kind of wearing a false mask, and that doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going out of their way to lie, but there's somebody that's definitely not being completely 100% honest. Again, that doesn't mean that's lying straight out, or like, doing something underhanded. It can just straight up mean that there's somebody here that's not being straight forthcoming about a situation. And the five pentacles here can indicate that this, that lack is some, you may be picking it up. That's what I'm saying. Libras, we may be picking that up. We may be picking up that somebody's keeping some stuff, maybe something personal, maybe some insecurities that they may be facing, and they're just trying to put on a good face, and we can't see behind the BS. And on the other hand, it could be us, right? It could be us that's putting up a good face, and we may be feeling something, we may be feeling some sort of way, right? Can't speak today, but anyway. Another person's got the Knight of Cups, though. This person is very romantic, focused on what they want, though. Their relationship is definitely something that either this is something that they want, the relationship, or they're focused on what they can get out of the relationship, right? There's something that they want, and the relationship can get them there. Okay, and I don't really want to put any bad seeds, because this person may not be thinking that way in that way. This person may be wanting to get married or have children, and you're that person that will help them get there because they see you and trust you enough to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's never good to put in bad seeds, because a lot of times what we may want is not necessarily the person, it's the goal, and that person that comes into our lives is the person to do it, and that's perfect, right? As I prefer that versus somebody actually conjuring someone, and that's way worse because you're taking someone's free will, their right to being a human being, which is making their own free decisions. The second you be like, I wanted that person specifically, it's like, whoa, why the hell did you want that individual, right? That kind of gets a little creepy. But let's be real. This person maybe focused on what their goals are, focused on what they want, and I feel like this is where it gets weird, right? Because this moon card coming up for the other person definitely would scream to me like, hey, that's the person. This is the individual here that's probably not being very forthcoming. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, right? Considering the moon doesn't necessarily always have to mean that this person is lying, this person is doing stuff in the dark. This person really could be just ultimately confused, because the other side here is the Queen of Cups. Now, the only thing we don't know about the Queen of Cups is what's in her cup. She could have diamonds, she could have pearls, she could have some sort of poison in the cup that she's ready to give to somebody. We don't know what she's got in that motherfucking cup. But the thing is, the thing is, I feel like not. I feel like everybody here is confused. I don't think that one person is lying to the other, or one person is lying to the other person's lying to the other. I don't think anybody's purposely being deceptive. I think there's just deception because everybody has their own kind of goals, has their own kinds of wants, and how they go about getting those things are what's causing the relationship to seem very confusing. Because what's the challenge that we're looking at here is the Knight of Pentacles, which is the only thing here that's really physical, that's real, that's tangible. And that's the challenge. Either getting to a place where there's some realistic, realism, some some not challenge, but some something real, something that can be tangible, facts, hardcore facts. Um, Seeing the details, really just paying attention to details, and I feel like that's the situation, or committing, right? But knowing what you're committing to, getting all the information, seeing the details. Because look at this, it's just so crazy. So somebody feels like left out in the cold. It could be two. Somebody may be feeling 100%. Maybe someone feels rejected here. I don't think that's the case, because of just how this person's looking. Like, they don't look like they're completely absent of the situation. They're kind of lost in the sauce, it looks like. When I see the moon, I always think of, oh, somebody's lost in the sauce. Not because they choose to be, right? Nobody chooses to be lost in the sauce. But usually what happens is the moon gets confusing, and it's just hard to kind of make sense of everything. The moon is also very intense energy. It's very intense. And if this is what brought you two together, that feeling of intense emotion is definitely there. And it's overwhelming the amount of desire you have for either the person, the thing that you're going after, trying to manifest, or whatever. So this person is not only just dealing with confusion, but also intense emotions. Now, this person could also be dealing with fears, right? Their own fears, their own insecurities. They may be facing the darkness. And that's hard for them to do, but that takes bravery. And I feel like if this is the situation here where we are looking at the situation as like we feel left out in the cold, it's because they're going through their own darkness right now. They're going through their stuff. And they can't probably be very up and open and, la-di-da-di-da with the relationship if they have some stuff that's definitely causing them to freak out, right? Now, again, that's where we kind of go into the whole deception. I don't think everybody's purposely lying to each other or hiding anything, but I think everybody is trying to keep their own privacy in a way, but they want each other to confess up to their privacy. I think everybody here is pretty psychic. They're very aware that something's going on with the other party, and yet everybody's keeping it to themselves. So everybody's not really divulging in each other's business. It's very interesting. Something tells me that this person here may be a little bit more open. But hey, we'll have to keep moving forward. The Tower is the underlying energy, though. So this is definitely talking about something that's radically changing in both parties' lives. And it's because of some sort of loss. Now, even though there's a relationship is still there with the Two of Cups there, all that greatness, the situation, the focus has to do a lot with what's missing, and that thing that's missing, I think, is why this Tower situation is coming up. Why they a sudden eruption of, oh my goodness, this is bad news bears, and I feel like like I said, I feel like both parties are just trying to get through, trying to get by, and it's hard because, I don't think anybody wants to be judged. I don't know if anybody really wants help, per se. I think somebody really wants to do it on their own. I think that's why the Knight of Pentacles is coming up. For some weird reason, and I don't typically read the Knight of Pentacles like this, it's like he's got his own way of doing something, his own process, his own mundane method of his, to his madness. And I feel like even though it's the Ace of Cups, what brought you two together, it was, new love and new love towards yourself and developing spiritual growth. It's both of you guys are both procrastinating, or perhaps not procrastinating, but looking at the situation and taking your time. Somebody else could be, I think both parties are moving very slow or moving in their own pace, and that's the challenge. It's beginning in a cohesive pace. Now, the Page of Pentacles can also indicate that there's an offer of something long-term, something stable, and that could be that thing, right? Somebody may be having a hard time, or both parties may be having a hard time committing to an idea, or committing to committing to something that would work out for both of them. Because honestly, I think like I said, both parties have their own little things that they want, and it may not be meeting eye to eye. Now, why this person is coming up with the moon here is the Page of Swords. So there's information that they either gathered, or some sort of, they may have been spying, or they may have been doing some things sneaky things, not lying, but they've been probably doing some sneaky stuff. Maybe their communication has been kind of manipulative, or maybe this person here is, I think they got either, this is all about gaining more information, or trying to understand something, or trying to develop their own truth. Because the Page of Swords can be a new beginning. It can mean something, straight out the gate. Nothing huge or anything, but they're developing their own truth, but it's like an immature truth. It's not perfected, it's not matured. It's the start. It's the beginning. Something is weird with that one. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. Because the Page of Swords is like, what? Now, I can't remember who I was saying this in. I said this in I don't know if I said it in Leo's, because I had done Leo over, but I think, I was saying actually in Virgo that these readings have been coming up very confusing, but the more you read it, the more it makes more sense. Craziness. Oh, jeez. Death. And I don't know why I pulled 2 cards for this, because I didn't really want that. Why is the Page of Swords the reason? Why is the Page of Swords the reason why this person has the moon in their presentation and the Knight of Cups in their heart, in their headspace, and it's because of death and the lovers. They're leaving something behind. I think, yeah, like I said, they're developing a new truth. That's what I was saying. Okay, like I was saying, they're developing their new truth because this connection is, because they're leaving behind a logical portion of the connection. They're developing a new truth. They're developing a new perspective regarding love, and I think obviously the more of their emotions kind of surface, the more and more aware that they are of their insecurities. And I think that's the thing, because they have to release some things in order for there to be space for a new beginning. And I feel like both parties are trying to get to this Knight of Pentacles. To be honest, I think both parties want to offer each other something that they both feel has great value, that can potentially lead to something long term and stable. But everybody's got their own little stuff. Everybody's got their own little insecurities and their own, their own faulty foundations. And I think this person here is definitely trying to fix that, which is why this person's, totally, maybe like this person may be looking like they don't really want anything to do with anybody, or maybe this is why, Libra, you may be feeling rejected, if this is you. But the Queen of Cups here in the presentation shows that, of course, you're definitely in love. It's very aware. Everybody knows that you're in love. Everybody can see that. Definitely you're feeling your feelings, but the thing is that, the Queen of Cups is also someone that's kind of, discerning, right? She's wise and she's intuitive, but she also keeps a lot of things to herself, right? She don't need to communicate what she feels. She just knows how to go through those motions. And I think there's very similar to the moon here. There's some things that you maybe keep it to yourself as far as what you've got going on here. That's the far as the mentality. Why you feel there's lack. Why you feel like there's something that's not enough of. Something's not enough of something, right? And I feel like with the Queen of Cups is like there's some sort of feelings about that too, but you're trying to work through them, right? So you're trying to work through them. And the reason why this is all coming up is because of justice, right? Justice is all about balance. It's your card, Libra. So, this is talking about you trying to gain some sort of, stability in the sense of, or amending some sort of stuff, or forgiveness. I don't know if this is pain or this is sadness, but I kind of get this feeling that there is some things that you're trying to work out within yourself, within your relationships, within yourself, financially, whatever. There's some things that you're trying to gain balance of. And yes, you may feel all this love, but mentally you feel like there's something that's lacking. But what brought you two together, like I said before, is the Ace of Cups. A new life, new world, new beginning in love. But the thing that you guys are challenged by is the Page of Pentacles. And I think it has a lot to do with feeling of each individual person's sense of value. Okay? And I know that's weird that it comes up because nobody had anything coming up as far as Pentacles go except for this individual here. But I feel like everybody's trying to get to a place where they can stabilize and they can settle down. They can be real. But the Knight of Pentacles is like, that's the challenge. Being real, or, coming at the situation realistically. There's a lot of dreams. There's a lot of aspirations and all that. But to be honest, what clear conversation have you had about what your intention is regarding starting this relationship? Feel like making space and stuff like that for the love of your life, that's perfectly fine. And even, creating a balance for there to be new love coming in for this relationship is great. But as far as how you guys are communicating or how you guys see each other, one person is like either straight up confused, dealing with their own issues as far as facing their fears, and this other person is, yes, feeling the love, expressing that love, or, letting that love flow through them, but they're also handling some insecurities here because of this Five of Pentacles. Somebody's feeling lack. And that hasn't changed. Wow, and you have milk and honey. So that's talking about feeling your manifestation, like that you know what happiness looks like, what it feels like. So you have the goal post set. That's why I kind of didn't feel like it was like, oh, you guys, don't know what you want. That's not the point. You know what you want already. It's about getting there, taking the process and the steps to get there. I think there's a struggle. Now, the Five of Pentacles doesn't mean that this person may be feeling like there's something lacking or there's something like they're feeling left out in the cold. This could be that this person is struggling, or that sees this relationship as a struggle in the sense of there being this this fight, this push to get to a place where there is stability, where there is something that can, provide a stable ground. Right? Nothing is stable at this moment, and that's uncomfortable for everybody. So everybody's feeling a little sensitive. Everybody's feeling a little bit vulnerable. And I think that vulnerability is, I think that may be the front of all this, is that everybody's trying to seem like they got some sort of stability, or they kind of, maybe there is no front, right? Because the deception here is this. Where is it? Where is the fucking deception? Nobody's lying. Not even this individual. I mean, this person could be keeping it to themselves, sure. The moon, not a lot could be seen there. And the Page of Swords, and the Knight of Cups, I mean, maybe this person is keeping their intentions and their feelings and their truth to themselves. And that's the only person I can see as not being honest. Because this person here, there's nothing here that shows to me that this person is not being open and honest. And not in a dishonest way as if somebody's cheating or whatever. I think somebody's just not saying what they truly feel because they don't want to lose the relationship. Or maybe this is somebody that's come back, or this is a relationship that's been rekindled. Or maybe this is somebody that's gotten out of a relationship where they have expressed their feelings and it led to that. Somebody's not feeling comfortable with being completely honest. But I feel like that they're trying to release that because they know that this moon stuff is not going to work out. But they know what they need to do to get to this happiness. The moon doesn't really talk about that. The sun does. But with the milk and honey thing is that everybody knows what makes them happy. They've had a taste of what makes them happy. They know exactly what that dream is going to look like because they had a sample of it at one period. And both of these people experienced that either together or separately. But they know that they can get there. But the only thing that's keeping them right now is coming with a plan together to execute. Instead of kind of figuring out what, yes, it's important to figure out your half and all that. But what plan can you use together to make it work?